Yeah, I've been working in the space, like you said, for about a decade in manufacturing, enterprise, stuff like that, figuring out how augmented and virtual reality could be used for more sort of, call it, practical applications in that sense. Like that was the thought for a long time was, before, what is now the metaverse, these technologies, virtual reality, augmented reality, were first going to have to be applied in like enterprise settings, to fund the development of hardware and headsets and stuff like that. I started with Google Glass, actually, which is up here on my wall behind me. We want to go back to, I got a little museum of headsets.
It's a relic, dude.
Me. I know, this belongs in a museum, like Indiana Jones would say. So this is how I actually got my start, was being one of the, at the time people would call people like me a glass hole. But actually thinking of how devices like that could be used in factories. I had a startup around it that was focused on driver safety, actually. So a lot of people thought like, oh, that's going to be distracting and it's going to cause accidents. But, I was looking at it and say, how can we use this device that people are wearing on their head that has all the sensors on it, like an accelerometer, gyroscope. There was actually a little IR sensor that looks at your eye. How can we use that to detect like your head movements? Because we've never, there's never been a device that people would wear on their heads all the time that has all those sensors. Basically like wearing a phone on your head. So that's really how I got my start. And then eventually got to work, more at a software company, more specifically on augmented reality and applying that to brands and other organizations, and then found my way to Spatial, kind of that route, because Spatial was initially built back in 2017 to focus on enterprise, collaboration, basically like remote work before remote work was cool / we were forced to do it. So that was, we had half the Fortune 1000 using Spatial in an augmented reality headset, like the Microsoft HoloLens, to make it feel like you were in the same room as other people. You would have your avatar would show up, in the room with your colleague, and you can collaborate around 3D models and basically spatial computing, which is where spatial, the name, comes from. That you can fill your room with content, with images, with 3D models, with avatars, and have that sense of presence with other people. But that changed over time, where once we rolled out Spatial on other platforms like virtual reality on the Meta Quest and the web, and just in web browsers and your phone, we started to encounter other people along the way on that journey, primarily artists and creators who were like, you're using this for work, but we can create an art gallery. Like during COVID, we have no way of having these immersive social experiences around our art, which is what art is really great for. But this platform has allowed us to really easily bring in our arts, whether that was just, a JPEG or if people, were minting NFTs, they could bring in their NFTs into the platform and started creating galleries. And then that's expanded over time to, it started with, PFPs and 2D NFTs, but has quickly expanded to 3D artists who are bringing their 3D worlds into these platforms and have it being, instantly accessible to millions of people on any device. So it's just crazy, like how that's, how that arc has gone, to the point where we're no longer doing any of that enterprise, corporate kind of stuff. It's Spatial today is just a community of tens of thousands of creators, of builders, artists, and just people who are, very much like, the Faceless Many community itself. Spatial as a whole is a large community of people learning what this Web3 thing is all about. As more and more artists and creators come on board. So it's just been wild to have that arc.